Chapter 40, Tobias. I caught a beautiful thermal rising up from the cliffs along the ocean. Just perfect. I spread my wings and felt the warm updraft grab me. It was like being fired out of a slingshot. I rose and circled high above the ocean. I needed all the altitude I could get. I could not believe that Cassie felt like the weak link in our group. I mean, I was the one who had slept through half of what happened. It was embarrassing. It was frustrating. The only good thing was that at least I had a role to play in Cassie's plan. Normally, a red-tailed hawk is not a water bird. We don't fly that well over water, because over water you don't get thermals. But I was way, way, way up, and with a little luck, I could stay aloft long enough to find what I was looking for. I headed out to sea, and as soon as I was well out of the gray-blue water, I felt the air go slack. I worked the headwind to compensate, though, and I was able to hang on to most of my altitude. All the while, I scanned the ocean below me. I have amazing vision, but it isn't adapted for seeing through water, like a bald eagle's or an osprey's is. Still, if what I was searching for was down there, I'd see it well enough. I was getting tired by the time I spotted the spout. It was actually back, closer to shore than I was flying. That was lucky. I turned south a bit, and veered at an angle that brought me nearer to the shore, though still more than 2 miles out from the beach. And then it was just below me. I could see it plowing majestically through the waters. It rose and blew out its lungs, and then dove again. It reappeared 100 yards farther south, always south. I wheeled to my left and headed back toward shore. I was tired and glad to see land. But I wouldn't get much of a chance to rest. The real test was still ahead. With my hawk's eyes, I swept the beach below. It was not crowded, but still it took a few minutes to find them. I spilled air and dropped down to meet my friends. "I have one for you, Cassie," I said. "I found a whale." Chapter 41, Cassie. "I'm just saying there are people who should be lying on the beach, and there are people who shouldn't be," Marco said. "Do you see fat, hairy old guys in Speedos on Baywatch? No. On Baywatch, they have a law against it. David Hasselhoff kicks anybody off the beach who isn't good looking. We need the Hasselhoff law here. That's all I'm saying." "So you wouldn't mind never going to the beach, Marco?" Rachel said wanly, not really interested in playing put-down games with Marco. We walked along the beach, pretending everything was normal, pretending we weren't worried, pretending everything was fine. Rachel was still quiet. I think the experience of losing her memory had shaken her up. Rachel is someone who is always in control. She's very brave at dealing with threats. But this was something new to her, a threat that had come from inside. Marco was trying too hard to tell jokes and make everyone relax. He felt somehow he was responsible for my feeling bad. He wanted to tell me that he didn't blame me. But he'd already told me, and I'd said thanks, and I still felt bad. Marco didn't know how to deal with that, so he tried to make everyone laugh. Jake was just one big tension machine. He hides it well, but I know him. I know when he's upset. It's something you see in the way he presses his lips together a little too hard, and a certain hooded look in his eyes. And then Tobias was back. "I have one for you, Cassie," he said. "I found a whale." I waved at him. Tobias told us where the whale was. Jake stopped walking. "You don't have to do this, Cassie. The force of the impact, if it hit you too fast. Besides, maybe the Valik isn't even around anymore." I couldn't look him in the eye. He was offering me an easy way out, and I didn't want to be tempted. "I'm going in," I said as calmly as I could. "I could do this, Cassie," Rachel said. "Do 3 morphs, 6 changes, including one that's totally new, all that quickly?" I asked her. "You guys all say I'm the fastest morpher, the one who gets control over a new morph easiest. I'm the person for this job." To my surprise, Jake nodded. "Cassie's right. It's her job." He took my hand. "But we'll be there for you." The 4 of us walked into the surf. Axe had to sit this one out. He would have had to morph back to his original form, and that probably would have gone over too well at the beach. We had chosen a spot far from the lifeguards. We didn't want someone deciding we needed to be rescued. I splashed into the cold surf. Water bubbled around my ankles, then my legs, and then my waist. I plunged forward and swam away from the shore. The others were right beside me. Tobias had flown to the top of the cliff to rest for a few seconds. I swam out to sea, and as I swam, I focused on the first morph. Some morphs are terrifying. Some are disgusting. Some overwhelm you with their animal instincts of fear and hunger. Other morphs make you feel invincible with their power. And some morphs, not many, but a few, are simply wonderful. As I swam, I felt my face bulge out and out and out. I felt my legs begin to fuse together. I felt my skin become thick and rubbery. I could even feel when my lungs shut down for a moment, and a second later were sucking air from a hole behind my head. From far off, I heard Tobias' thoughts speak, faint but understandable. "It's coming! The Vleek! It's coming!" I was a creature with feet but no legs, hands that were flat and gray, and no arms. I had human eyes that still stung from the salt water, but a blowhole in the back of my neck. I was half human, half bottlenose dolphin. I rode onto my side to look upward, and there it was, Visser 3's hunting dog, the Vleek, the dust monster. A tornado of energy-hungry particles that swirled like a small tornado. I dove beneath the waves, and when I surfaced, it was still there, but it had not come closer. "It doesn't like the water," Marco said. "I guess not," I agreed. "You were right, Cassie," Rachel said. "Let's hope so." I felt the last of the changes as I became a true dolphin. The joy. I'd forgotten how happy the dolphin was. It seemed strange given what we were up against. But still, with all our worry, the dolphin joy was hard to contain. "Let's go find this whale," Rachel said. We took off at full dolphin speed. I fired a series of clicks from the organ in my head. The clicks resounded through the water and came back to me in echoes. The echoes painted a picture of what was in the water around me. "I have him on my echolocation," I told the others. "Yeah," Jake agreed. "A little left, not far now." Soon I could hear the whale crashing through the water. We raced up alongside him, faster than he was, but insignificant beside his huge bulk. It was like running next to a truck or a train. His flank was a gray wall, scarred and dotted with crusts of barnacles. "Little ones," the whale said in a voice that was not a voice, in words that were not really words at all. "Strange cloud above." He kept moving, not really caring whether we were there or not. The Vleek kept pace above us, not able to attack, but not drawn off either. "Okay, guys, it's time," I said. "Get ready." I began to demorph. Easier said than done. I was moving at whale speed, much faster than I could swim as a human. "Great one, do not dive," I asked the whale. Whether he heard me or understood me, let alone agreed, I could not say. It's hard to describe the way a whale communicates. The dolphins can hear their thoughts speak, but it isn't words really, more like strange, beautiful pictures that simply appear in your mind. Jake and Rachel each sidled up next to me. They pressed their snouts against me and pushed me through the water. I demorphed, and slowly my dolphin tail split to become legs. My flippers sliced into fingers. I was fully human again and gasping for breath, with my face just out of the water. Just 2 feet off the water, the Vleek hovered, hungry, waiting for a chance. I pressed my human hands against the side of the whale. I focused my mind on the process of acquiring it. It felt wrong, somehow, as if I should have asked the whale's permission. But the slow, vague communication of whales does not allow for explanations. I needed his DNA. He slowed and almost stopped. It wasn't the acquiring trance. All animals become calm when they are being acquired. But it was hard to think of the whale as just being an animal. I had dealt with whales before. They are not intelligent in the same way humans are, but they have minds and, I believe, souls. When I was done acquiring the Great One's DNA, I took my hands from him. "I'm done," I said, getting a mouthful of salt water. My friends slowed down and the whale pulled away. Now I was one of the most awkward things in the world, a human being in the ocean. I didn't fear drowning because my friends were all around me in dolphin morph. But with the Valik hanging above us, like a low ceiling of gnashing teeth, it was creepy. Is Tobias ready? I asked. He's up above the Valik, Jake said. How are you holding up? So far... I spit salt water out of my mouth. So far, so good. I'm ready. Chapter 42. Tobias. It was not my favorite kind of flying. Hawks are not like geese. We can't just power fly hour after hour. Personally, I don't know how geese do it. A hawk likes a bit of headwind to get lift for the takeoff. I had that, at least. But most of the time we hunt from trees, swooping down on unwearing mice or rabbits. We don't go for serious altitude unless we can get some free lift from a thermal. Otherwise, it's hard work, flapping and flapping for altitude. But I couldn't complain. Cassie had a worse job. She rode my back in cockroach morph. She'd had to finish the morph while literally underwater to fly away from the Valik. She had morphed from human to dolphin to human to cockroach already, and more was coming. Hanging in there? I asked. Yeah, I'm fine. Is the Valik following us? No, the others are keeping it distracted down below. They're doing partial morphs, keeping it down near the surface of the water. Good. How are you doing? No problem, I said. It was a lie. I was straining for every foot of altitude I can get, and I was wearing out. I had to get as high up as possible. Cassie would need every foot I could give her. We were making progress. At about 100 feet, I caught a nice gust of wind that I rode up to 1,000 feet or so. But then it was dead air for a while. Totally dead air, and I was struggling. Tobias? Yeah, Cassie? Think this will work? If I get you enough altitude, it will work. Are you ever afraid? She asked me. Who, me? I'm afraid of everything. I know I'm a predator and all, but do you know how many predators I have after me? Every golden eagle, every falcon. You know how fast they are? It's like getting hit by a bullet. They make me look like the Goodyear blimp. Then there are the raccoons and foxes and snakes and even the occasional nervy house cat. And that's just the natural environment. Add to that the yerks and the fact that I wake up sometimes and don't remember exactly what I am, boy or bird. Yeah, Cassie, I'm afraid a lot of the time. How do you handle it? Who says I handle it? There's only one way to deal with fear. Be afraid. Be afraid and then go ahead and do what you have to do anyway. Yeah, I guess that's true. Listen, Tobias, if I don't make it... Oh, shut up. You're going to make it. If I don't, then tell Jake that someday he has to tell my parents, okay? Someday, if it's ever safe, tell them what happened to me. Promise? Sure, Cassie. I promise. Just don't tell my dad what happened to his truck, she added, forcing a brave laugh. He thinks it was stolen. We'd better leave it at that. Cassie, this is it, kid. I can't go any higher. Okay, Tobias. Thanks for the ride. I felt her scuttle down along my wing, and a second later I saw her falling, spinning. A girl who had become a cockroach, now falling from a mile up, trying to draw a monster to attack her. A girl who thought she was a coward. It's amazing how people can just not know themselves at all. With my hawk eyes, I saw her grow and grow as human DNA reasserted itself. And I saw the Valik turn its mini mouths towards the sky.